Good morning, Kasturians. So, today let us start revising all the questions that were given to you in your Google Sheets. Okay, so let us start from the very first Google Sheet that was given to you. Okay, so one by one we will go on revising all the questions. Okay, so let us start. Okay, let us see what does the very first question says. See, the first question is an electron is projected with a uniform velocity. See, velocity is uniform and this electron is projected along the axis of a current carrying long solenoid. Okay, this is the situation given to us and we have to tell which of the following is true. Okay, we are given four options. We have to tell which option among the four is true. The first question is electron will be accelerated along the axis. Okay, the second option is the electron path will be circular about the axis. The third option is the electron will experience a force of 45 degree force at 45 degree axis. Okay, and hence it will execute an helical path. The last and the fourth option is the electron will continue to move with uniform velocity along the axis of the solenoid. So we have to tell which among the following is true. So as we can see, the motion of electron is involved. Okay, magnetic field is involved. Okay, and the velocity is involved. Okay, so we already know which law, or we can say which force correlates all the three factors. We already know which force is that. That force is Lorentz force. That is, force is equals to BQV sine theta. Okay, let us see now. Okay, so let us see here. From the Lorentz force, what do we know? Force is equals to BQV sine theta. Okay, and what we are given that this electron is projected along the axis with the current. Okay, so we can say the theta given to us is 0 degree. So if theta is 0, if we put the theta in this equation of Lorentz force, what do we get? We get sine 0. What is the value of sine 0? We already know it is 0. Sine 0 is 0, so we get the value of force as 0. Okay, so if force is 0, so we can conclude from that the electron, it will be experiencing no force and hence it will be moving along the axis of the solenoid. Okay, and what will the velocity, as no force it is force is experienced by this you can say this electron, so the velocity will be uniform. Okay, and it will be moving along the axis of the solenoid. So you can see the fourth option will be the correct. Okay, that means the electron will continue to move with a uniform velocity along with the axis of the solenoid. Okay, now let us move to the next question. So let us read what does the next question says. So the next question says that there is a circular coil and radius of the circular coil is given to us, that is 4 centimeter. Okay, and what else we are given? We are given 20 turns, that means number of turns is given to us. Okay, and this coil carries a current of, how much current is this coil carrying? It is carrying the current of 3 ampere. Okay, see, 3 ampere current this coil is carrying, and it is placed in the magnetic field of intensity 0.5 Weber per meter square, and we have to find the magnetic dipole moment of the coil. Okay, magnetic dipole moment of the coil is to be found out. Okay, so we are given radius, we are given number of turns, we have to find magnetic dipole moment. Do we know the formula for magnetic dipole moment? That is M is equals to N, I and A. We already know what is N. N here is number of turns in the coil, that is given to us 20 turns. Okay, what else we are given? We are given the current. Current is also given to us 3 amperes. Okay, area of the coil, area of the circular coil. We know area of for the circular coil is pi r square. Okay, pi r square will be the area. Okay, the value of r, that is given to us is 4 centimeter. So we can convert this 4 centimeter into meter, it will be 0.04 meter. We can put the value of r here. Okay, pi r square we will be getting from here. Okay, and we can put this value of area in this value for magnetic dipole moment. After putting all the values, we can simply, what we are left with, we are just left with now solving part. Okay, calculation part you can do, you will be getting the answer among the 4 options nothing but simple calculation in this question, okay. And to misguide the students, and another value of magnetic field of intensity is given in here. This value of magnetic field intensity is no use, okay, just to mislead the students it is given. Now let us see. So what will be the answer? After calculating, you will get the answer as 0.3 ampere meter square. Okay, now let us see the next question. The next question is, the next question given to us is the maximum current that can be measured by using a galvanometer of resistance 40 ohm. It is 10 milliampere. The current given to us is 10 milliampere, and the maximum resistance of galvanometer. See, this is resistance of the galvanometer, and it is converted into a voltmeter, and it can read up to 50 volts, okay, voltage that this galvanometer can measure. After being converted into voltmeter, the voltage it can measure is 50 volt. And the resistance to be connected in the series with the galvanometer is what we have to find. We have to find the resistance that we have to connect in series with the galvanometer to convert this galvanometer into voltmeter, okay. So we can find the resistance. How we can find the resistance for this galvanometer? Let us see. See, these three things are given to us, that is resistance of the galvanometer, current it can measure, voltage it can measure, okay. Now we have to find the resistance, resistance to be connected in series with the galvanometer. So the resistance we have to find out, that is to be connected in the series. So we already know from the Ohm's law, V is equals to IR, and here the resistances are connected in series, okay. So we already know. So the combination of resistance will be the resistance that we have to connect and the resistance of the galvanometer, okay. So the resistances are as we have seen and given in the question in series. So in series, resistance are simply added, you already know. We are given the value of V and I, we have to find this R, this G is given to us. So this V is 50 volts. Let us take this current on the left hand side, we will get 10 milliampere. So milliampere we will be taking upside, so we will be getting 1000 upside, because 1 milli is equals to 10 to the power minus 3, okay. Now what we are left here, R plus G. The value of R we have to find, G is given which is 40. So 0 we are here given 5000. Let us take this G on the left hand side, that is minus 40, okay. This is the value of resistance, and the resistance will come out to be you can see it will be 4960 ohm, okay. You can perform the calculation and try to find out the result by yourself. Now let us move to the next question. So the next question is, what is the net force on the rectangular coil? See, you can see here the rectangular coil, and we have to find the net force on this coil. And see the diagram given to us. This is a wire carrying 2 ampere current, and this is the coil. We have to find net force on this rectangular coil due to this current carrying wire, and this coil is also carrying current. You see here upward it is carrying 1 ampere of current, and on the other side this current is flowing in the circular direction also, you can see clockwise direction. So in this side this coil is carrying 1 ampere of current, okay, and due to this wire carrying 2 ampere of current, we have to find the you can say the net force on this rectangular coil. You can see the dimensions of the coil. Now let us try to find out the net force on this rectangular coil. See, this is the coil given to us in the question. We have to find the net force, okay. So we already know F1. See, let us consider F1 be the force on this arm A and B due to this current carrying wire or current carrying conductor. So it will be F1 will be how much it will be? We already know force on two parallel current carrying wires, it will be mu naught divided by 4 pi I1 I2 divided by R, okay. And here we will be having multiplication by 2 and into length of the conductor, okay, length of the conductor, okay. We know the formula will be mu naught divided by 2 pi R I1 I2 into length of the conductor, okay. We have multiplied this by 2 and divided it by 2 as well, so we have got here 4 pi. Okay, why? Let me tell you why we have multiplied and divided by 4, because we already know the value of mu naught divided by 4 pi. Okay, it is a constant value which is 10 to the power minus 7. Okay, I1 is let us consider I1 is 2 ampere, I2 is 1 ampere, you can see here, and multiplication by 2, and the value of R, that is distance of this wire from this AB side of the loop, it is 2 centimeter. So we can put it as let us put it in centimeter only, so it is 2 centimeter, and the conductor length is also we are considering in centimeter, so it is, you see, it is 15 centimeter, both the sides are parallel, you can see it is a rectangular loop, so it will be 15 centimeter. Here also centimeter, so centimeter gets cancelled, what we are left with, 2 and 2 gets cancelled, what do we get? We get 30 into 10 to the power minus 7 centimeter. And we can see from the loop, this is two parallel current carrying loops. Okay, the current is in same direction. Okay, the loop is carrying current in same direction, that means currents are parallel, and we already know the nature of parallel currents is to repel. Okay, so due to this arm, the force will be in this direction. Okay, it will be opposite, or you can say it is away from the wire. Now let us try to find out the force due to this current carrying loop on this side of the you can say loop, rectangular loop. So it will be, let us consider it as F2, it is equals to again mu naught divided by 4 pi I1 I2 into 2 into length of the conductor. Let us directly put the value of length of the conductor, which is 15 centimeter, na? And divided by R is, you see, this is 2 centimeter and this is 10 centimeter. Okay, this side is 10 centimeter, so the total distance from this wire to this side of the loop, it is 12 centimeters. It 10 and plus 2, it will, let us put directly 12 centimeter. Okay, so centimeter cancelled, 2, and here we will be getting 6. I1 and I2, it is 2 into 1, so we will be getting here I1 and I2 will be 2. Okay, let us understand here only, it will be 2. Okay, 2 and 12 we have got, we have cancelled, we got here 6, and now 2 and 6 again cancelled, it is 3 and 15 cancelled, it is 5. So we are getting here, and the value of mu naught divided by 4 pi is 10 to the power minus 7, and after solving all these things we have got 5. Okay, 5 into 10 to the power minus 7, and the force we already know, unit of force is Newton. And see, these currents, this current and this current, we have to see this is in upward direction, this is in downward direction, we can say they are anti-parallel. So the nature of anti-parallel is to attract. Okay, this, due to this arm, force will be attracting. Okay, the force will be attracted towards the wire. So we can say, now we have to find the resultant force. Resultant force will be F1 minus F2. Okay, so we see if it is a positive value, see this is here in this direction, this is in direction, I am subtracting F1 में से, F1 से we are subtracting F2. Okay, so we are subtracting F1 to F1, F2, F2 we are subtracting from F1. अब अगर आंसर comes in positive, okay, अगर आंसर पॉजिटिव आता है तो we will understand कि the direction will be opposite, or we can say away from the wire. अगर आंसर नेगेटिव आता है तो डायरेक्शन विल बी अपोजिट, दैट मीन्स F2 is greater, so we will say that the direction is towards the wire. Okay, now let us see the sign of the answer. See, this is greater, this is smaller, so 30 minus 5, and the power is same, so we are taking the power common, minus 7 Newton, that is 25 into 10 to the power minus 7 Newton. See, answer is positive, so we can say the direction will be away from the wire. Okay, understood? So the net force is this much and the direction is away from the wire. So you see here the correct option is second one, that is 25 into 10 to the power minus 7 Newton and away from the wire. Okay, now let us move to the next question. The next question says that there is a conducting loop. As you can see, there is a conducting loop of radius. What is radius of the loop? Radius is given to us R. Okay, and it is carrying a constant current I, and this coil is placed in the uniform magnetic field B such that B is perpendicular to the plane of the loop. And what we have to find, see, B is perpendicular to plane of the loop, B is perpendicular to plane of the loop. Now see, what we have to find, the magnetic force acting on the loop. Magnetic force we have to find. What is the formula for magnetic force? Do we know the formula for magnetic force acting on this loop? What is the formula? So theta given is 90 degree, okay. And we have to find the value of magnetic force. Magnetic force on a current carrying wire is, what will be the magnetic force on the current carrying wire? We already know, that is BIL sine theta, okay. Sine theta, that means sine 90. Sine 90 is 1, sorry, sine 90 is 0, we already know. So here we will be putting the value of sine 90, that will be 0. So what will be the value of force? This force will be 0, okay. This force will come out to be 0. So what we can say about the magnetic force acting on the on this loop is the value 0, okay. So it will be 0 because all the forces acting on this loop, they will cancel out each other, okay. So after cancellation we will be getting the resultant force as 0. So now let us move to the next question. The next question is, a strong magnetic field is applied on the stationary electron, okay. You can see the electron here is stationary, electron is stationary, and a strong magnetic field is applied on this electron. Then the electron, we have to tell about the electron that first this electron, does it move in the electric field? If the electron is stationary and a magnetic field is applied to this electron, will the electron move in the direction of the field, or it will remain stationary, or it moves perpendicular to the direction of field, or you see the last option is it will be moving opposite to the direction of field. So you already know, if the charge is in motion, then only the strong magnetic field will be acting on the charge, or you can say on the electron. Now here the charge is at rest, okay, and magnetic field is applied. So you can see the charge, nothing will happen on the charge, and the charge will remain stationary, okay. Now let us move to the next question. And the next question is, the nature of parallel and anti-parallel currents are. We already know what is the nature of parallel and anti-parallel currents. The parallel currents are, you see, the parallel currents repel each other, है ना, and the anti-parallel currents, they attract each other, okay. So the first option is correct. You can see, very easy question, है ना. And now let us try to solve the second question. What is the next question? The next question says that in a moving coil galvanometer, the deflection theta on the scale by a pointer attached to the spring is. We have to tell the formula for deflection is. What is the formula for deflection? We can easily find the solution to this question. How? We already know that deflection, that is k phi, it is directly proportional to, we can say tau is directly proportional to NIBA. It is equals to NIB and A, and from here we can easily find out the value of deflection will be N, A and B. We will be taking this K on the right hand side, and we can take all the constants in the bracket, as you can see, and I will be outside. So NBA divided by K, and I outside. So see, from the options, where is this option present? NBA divided by K, and outside the bracket we are having I. So this is option number C. See, this is tau. We know what is this. This is toroidal constant, and this is the value of, you can say, tau, due to the, you can see, due to the magnetic field, this torque, है ना. So we will be equating these two terms, and we can simply get the formula, okay. So we will be getting the right option as C. So you can see here, and now let us move to the next question. You see, from here you will be getting this option. You have to click this C, put this option. Now let us see the next question. The next question is the conversion of a moving coil galvanometer into a voltmeter. It is done by, how we can convert moving coil galvanometer into voltmeter? We have to connect a very large resistance, we can say parallel to the galvanometer, है ना. So you already know how we can do that. So a very where is that large value in, we have to connect, or we have to introduce a large value of resistance in parallel, okay. We already know this. This is a very direct question. Now let us see the next question. It is, you see, the question says we have to find, we have to tell the relation between SI unit and CGS unit of magnetic field. What is SI unit of magnetic field? It is Tesla, है ना. And what is CGS unit of magnetic field? It is Gauss. We have to tell the relation between them. We already know 1 Tesla is equals to 10 to the power 4 gauss, and this is the relation that you have to tell. Okay, so this is your first part of the Google Forms, Google Sheets that were given to you. We will be discussing others in the next videos. So thanks for watching this video.